The trouble with us is we're in a rut. Too much work, no play. We don't take time to see our old friends.
Yes, not so many of our old friends left, Michael.
In the house. What's good, people? What is good, people? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's good, people? What's good, people? Woo! What's good? Welcome to this week's episode and live stream of the Tech and Chill Show. Welcome, 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 welcome. Wow, about flipping time, man. Sorry about taking so long today. It's been kind of like a long, hectic day. So, long, hectic week. So, apologies for that. Thank you all for your patience. This week's episode of the Tech and Chill Show, as always, is brought to you by myself, your host Ben from the Lover of Tech channel. As always, coming in live, bringing enthusiasm to tech, connecting with you guys, teching and chilling. Well, not too many things to talk about. I've got some few things to talk about, obviously, as always, because I don't know anything else better to do. So yeah, man. Let's see what's good. Let's see who's in the comment section already. Shout out to Periscope crew as well, and also YouTube family, Team TLS, Notification Squad, the Tech Lover Squad. Thank you for joining in. Let's see. We have Dan, man. you got oh, Dan, seriously, old fat man in the house may have to leave because, like I said, fat and I'm hungry, so may go for dinner. What's good, Dan?
I see your talents have gone beyond the mere physical level.
Waiting from Kirkland. What's good, Dollar Production? About time, Ben, you bellend. Or Ben and still waiting. What's up? Matt sounds good. Thank you for the audio check. What's good, Dollar Production? What's good, Dan Gage? First time catching your show live. What's good, Mark Samuels? Thank you for turning it up. Let's talk about Pixel, fam. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the Pixel 3 design and expectations of what we're gonna expect from the phone. Thoughts on the Galaxy X, the foldable Galaxy phone. Man, it's so hot in here, I'm sweating. Crap. Nice of you to turn up. Dan, allow me, man. Allow me. Let me get an audio check from you guys. I want to make sure that the audio is not too harsh and the background music is actually well balanced. Let me know if the background music is too loud. Please, pretty please. Let me know what the audio is saying, guys. What's good, man? Camera's fire. Yeah, man, I'm seriously, man, the A6300 is like the best webcam. Honestly, it's the best webcam to have, man. It's that with the Elgato Cam Link is sick, but this is the standard kit lens. I should be getting the Sigma 60mm f1.4, the one I was using last week that I rented out. That and the 18-105 OSS f4 aperture zoom lens as well. Lower the music. Cool. Thank you for the feedback. Let me know once the music is actually well balanced. If it's not too loud. But I'm sure the audio mic is good. Let's see who's in the Periscope family as well. If anyone from Periscope is saying anything. I'm not seeing anything from Periscope so far. But yeah, shout out to the Twitter and the Periscope family as well. I don't forget about you guys. Through the power of Restream.io, we are streaming on YouTube and Periscope Twitter at the same time. The Periscope Twitter feed is pinned to my comment. It's pinned to my profile, so if you want to check it out there, you can. But if you want to definitely join the main conversation, man, you need to be over here on the YouTube live stream. Woo! Man, what's been going on? What's been going on? This week has just been wow, this week has just been crazy. Hey, explain your point on the MacBook Pro video. MacBook Pro, on the MacBook Pro. Oh, you mean the I'm Brandon's one? I just laughed at, I don't know what point people were trying to make crazy. Like, I just laughed at the fact that Brandon said that the MacBook Pro is crap and he hates the MacBook Pro. Like, I didn't have a point to make. He was the one. I don't have a MacBook Pro. You see the rumors about Nikon and Canon offering competition to the A7 III. Yeah. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're going to talk about the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. We're going to talk about all the other gear in terms of camera rumors, Sony a6700, you know, autofocus versus manual focus, because I had a great discussion with, you know, This Is Tech Today, Brandon as well, you know, and obviously Dan Gage was the center of that because he got the Lumix G7 and went to the a6300. So we're going to talk about all those things. So we're going to talk about the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K rumors, and it's not necessarily rumors. Canon and Nikon do not have a choice but to get into the mirrorless game. They need to get into the mirrorless game. They don't have a choice. Like, mirrorless is the way forward. You know, DSLRs are just dinosaurs now in terms of just the size of them and just what they can do in terms of autofocus points, you know, autofocus in general. Obviously Canon is doing a great job with that dual pixel autofocus, but you know, yeah, there's a lot we're going to talk about. We're going to break it down. The MacBook Pro is oh man, we'll talk about that. Why not? Seeing as that's been opened up. I sense it. I think everyone is eager tonight, whoever's joined. So shout out to my boy Courtney from Fresh Tech TV. Good to see you in here, bro. We need to get you on the live show, man. All right. If the music's too loud, let me just turn it down a little bit. I'm sure that my audio from the microphone is fine. If Canon comes out with a mirrorless full frame, I'm all over it. It depends, bro. It depends because the way they nerfed the 4K and the focusing mode on the M50, what's to say that even if they do full frame, you're not just getting a smaller 6D Mark II, you're not getting 4K with no crop factor, no in-body image stabilization, 4K with no autofocus. It's just probably going to be a smaller 6D2. So it's going to be a full frame 1080p video camera. With Canon, I kind of just have to slow down with expectations with them. You know, I'm not, they will make a full frame mirrorless camera. They will do, they have to, but I have no expectation that they're not going to nerf it just to protect the higher end cameras. So I wouldn't get ahead of myself with Canon delivering on expectations of what a full frame mirrorless camera should be for people and the consumer. Yeah, that's just my opinion. Most people buy the MacBook because it says Pro. Absolutely wrong. As a former Apple employee, return my sister after hearing about Canon and Nikon news. Professional buy it because it's a powerful machine. A professional buy it because the Final Cut Pro, so it's optimized. Regular Joe buys it because they think it's cool. You know, I'm gonna have to agree and disagree. All right, I'm gonna break this up. Well, let's start the live stream. One more sound check. How's the mic, and also how's the background music? Is the background music okay? Mic sounds good, fam. Let's talk about the Pixel. Man, so hot. You remind me of the man. Lower music, okay. Let me know if the music is fine. Good now. Perfect. Music is pretty loud, to be honest. Why does it suck? Ask Brandon, innit? I've not used the MacBook Pro. I've not used the MacBook Pro to know whether it sucks or doesn't suck, but all I know is that, you know, at least to the best of my knowledge, to what I know, the butterfly keys are a problem. Apple have admitted to it. It's on previous generation hardware when it's on 7th, and it should be on 8th generation. Everything else about it, I've not used it to really know whether it's that bad or not. I'm not a Final Cut user, so there's no way I'm going to be buying a MacBook Pro on older hardware when I can get much better hardware for less money on a PC and get way better performance. If you didn't check Dave Lee's frustration with Apple, I agree a lot with him from a Premiere user's point. You know, I'm a Premiere user, and the fact that you can get an 8th generation 8750H 6-core 12-thread Intel CPU, you know, in a Windows laptop now, and it's actually going to be faster in Premiere for exporting and rendering than an iMac Pro base model, that's a big problem. You know, that's a big problem if you're talking about the iMac Pro. So how much more the MacBook Pro? Obviously, if you're a Final Cut user, that's a different story, you know. But what Brandon was saying in his video with the iMac Pro, from the MacBook Pro is, and if you checked his previous 2 MacBook Pro videos, he clearly states that, in his opinion, the MacBook Pro is just not on par. And the guy shoots, I'm going on a tangent a bit, but the guy shoots raw 5K red code video from a Scarlett W, right? That shoots 5K raw. So, you know, he's as pro as it comes. The guy's a freelancer. He works for Marquez, and he does amazing content for himself, you know. So, you know, I trust his word enough to say that if the MacBook Pro sucks, then he knows why it sucks, because he's coming from a pro standpoint. So I can't speak for it myself. I've not used a MacBook Pro 15. You know, I was very tempted to switch to a MacBook Pro for Final Cut because of export times and render, but Adobe have done the best update they could have done for the Intel platform. Export and final render times in 4K for Premiere is a dream. It's almost Final Cut good. So I almost have no reason to ever want to switch to Final Cut now. You know, the fact that I can buy a new generation 8th gen 6-core 12-thread i7 or i9 processor, and it will actually render faster than my 4790K that is at 4.5 gigahertz, 32 gigabytes of RAM in GTX 1080. That laptop will be faster than my computer. That's crazy. Like, laptops, you couldn't take laptops that seriously, you know. So, but why does it suck? It's overpriced. Okay, I really just want an explanation. I've given the best explanation I can. They are gonna refresh it in October, but October, you know, okay, look, I'm just gonna engage with you lot in the comments before I start my live show, man, because it's better for me to just engage with you guys. It's more fun that way. All right, Apple lover, why do you buy Apple products? I won't, but I'm not gonna be told that MacBook is great to buy when it's clearly not. I'm not gonna be told that consumers buy it for let's talk about the touch bar. Actually, let's not. the touch bar is a joke. Sorry, me not using it, the touch bar is a complete joke. Asus with their new ZenBook Pro literally schooled Apple on how to do a secondary display in a trackpad and still give you a 4K 60 frames a second touch screen for a display for 15 inches. I've never used it, but I'm telling you, the touch bar is a joke. That one, I can't. The touch bar is just a gimmick. I understand the MacBook Pro is a bit underpowered. A bit, bro. The MacBook Pro is not a bit underpowered. It's a decent amount underpowered, unfortunately. Irrespective of it being well optimized for MacBook Pro, it is a heavily underpowered device. The fact that there isn't a 32GB option, it's already a nerfed product for a Pro device. When the Dell XPS from a generation or two before was already putting 32GB of RAM in a laptop, we're not talking about optimization here. Optimization is a different story, but it is considering a pro device, it is heavily underpowered. Sorry. But that's only temporary. No, it's probably going to be quite a permanent problem. Pro Eco's emoji bar, temporary. How? You're going to crack it open and upgrade it. Dan, it's called a refresh. Adobe Premiere is the best. Yeah, I love Premiere now. Yo, congratulations on 1.8k subs. My name is Jeff. No man is El Jefe. What's good, Jeff? Shout out to Jeff in the house, man. I love this guy, man. What's good, Jeff? Congrats on 1.8k subs, man. Well done. Adobe, my bad. Nah, it's good. Yeah, and it costs a fortune to refresh. Can't refresh your older MacBook Pro. Supper, half your reviews was good. That I can agree with. Yeah, Ben. Do you think Google will win the best camera on a smartphone? If you're strictly talking about photography, and I really I've got a Pixel 2 and it's my least favorite phone, and it's something I hate admitting, but if you're strictly talking about point and shoot photography, right? Photography, I've not talked about video, but point and shoot photography, I honestly still think the Pixel 3 will win it out this year. It's something that I genuinely hate to admit, because I really dislike that phone. I think that phone is so boring. I'm going to do my review for it and I'm selling it. Like, the Pixel 2 is gone. You know, the Note 8 is gone, so that's been sold. The Pixel 2 is gone. Those two phones going. I'm definitely getting the Note 9 next month when it's announced. I need to get some lenses. That's more important than those two phones. I love the Note, but the Note 9 is coming, so that's the goal. Yeah, do you think? Yo, what's good, Jordan in the house. I'm a Mac lover, and the MacBook Pro new 15 is beep and too much money. I've had mine 2012 15-inch or 5.5 and it's still sick. Exactly. The MacBook Pro is 800 machine when talking specs in account. Yeah, but the thing is, it's not even just the specs, it's literally like what it represents in terms of put together. The butterfly keys is a big problem. The touch bar is an unnecessary gimmick, so you're paying for butterfly keys and a touch bar that is unreliable. The display is on point. I have to admit, the display is good, right? But it's still not a touch display because Apple want to be too stubborn, which for the life of me I disagree with. Their trackpad is amazing though. I have to give them credit for that. The trackpad's amazing. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this. I actually agree with the fact that they went with an all USB Type-C port selection with Thunderbolt. I actually agree with that. What I don't agree with, the main port that they took away was the SD card slot. If they were going to go full micro, I don't know how this conversation is tangenting like this, but it's cool. Let's rock with it. Let's flow with it. I genuinely don't mind all USB Type-C, especially when it's Thunderbolt 3. Thunderbolt 3 is an amazing port. I don't mind using adapters for it. What I can't understand is, why did you take away the SD card slot? The full size SD card slot should have not been taken away. It shouldn't have been taken away. But I will get a lot of flack for this, but I'm actually in full agreement with 4 USB Type-C Thunderbolt 3 ports. I would have loved it to actually have been 6. Right, but I don't agree with the full-size micro SD, full-size SD card slot being removed. So that's my thoughts on it. Thank you, bro. No, it's all good, man. Thanks for joining the stream. I'm a little bit tired tonight, sorry, so I'm gonna try and pump it up and bring a little bit of vibe and energy as I try to do. So thank you guys for joining in Team TLS, the Tech Lover Squad, Notification Squad. If you haven't, hit that notification bell, as well as when you do subscribe, man. So let me say hello to my Periscope Twitter family, see what's good with them, see what's popping. Dan, an Apple keynote. Have you been living under a rock? And that's pushing it. An Apple keynote have to do with the MacBook Pro not being overpriced. Yeah, it is overpriced, unfortunately. It's the same as the Mac Mini. The Mac Mini. The MacBook Pro is overpriced. It's unfortunately overpriced, and I know what people are gonna say, that in terms of the Apple customer service, the retail support, which is fantastic. You know, my wife has a late 2015 MacBook Pro base model, 13-inch. When it went wrong, they replaced it 2 to 3 times over. The support's great. I know that in itself is worth its money. I know the fact that they make their own software and you get free software updates to new versions every year without having to pay for it, like Windows. That carries its weight. You know, I'm seeing positives, and the fact that they made their own software, and you know, stuff like, you know, Apple ProRes, which we're going to talk about in terms of video codecs when we're talking about the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K. I know that people value that, but at the same time, I almost feel like Apple's best value product is the base model iMac Pro. Literally, I recommended one of my boys to get it because he's a Final Cut user, and I said, don't waste your money on a MacBook Pro, don't waste your money on an iMac, because they have dated hardware. The best value iMac computer or Mac computer to buy from Apple right now is actually the base model iMac Pro, especially for the fact that you can get it discounted for at $4,000 rather than the base model $5,000. The fact that you're getting an amazing 5K display at 27 inches with all the ports that it has, the peripherals that come with it, the beast performance, the beast graphics, I actually think Apple's best computer in terms of value is the base model iMac Pro. You know, taking away all the issues and palaver and the politics that's been happening on YouTube with you can't get it fixed. No, I'm just saying, like, in terms of up-to-date specifications to performance to value and what you get all together, Apple's best value product is actually the iMac Pro base model. And it's so hard, it's so funny to admit that, but what they've done to the normal iMac and the MacBook Pro, they're just overpriced now. The refresh, a keynote is a place where paid for employees scream their tuts. Dan, how much for the Pixel 2 XL? It's just a normal Pixel 2 that I've got, bro. 64 gig black. It's unlocked. DM me, holler at me. I'll call you tomorrow and we'll talk. Dan, go back to your dude. Apple lover, man. Watch your language, please. don't bring that kind of hype into the stream. Like, I appreciate you being here, but just calm down in the comments. Don't be insulting people. The USB-C is amazing. It is. My Lenovo G4 render faster than my MacBook Pro. Yeah, USB-C for the win. SD card slot is needed. Defo. Yeah, I honestly, I did not think I would admit this, but I'm actually in agreement with the fact that they went with, and it's not just the fact that it's USB Type-C. It's Thunderbolt 3. Like, Thunderbolt 3 is an amazing peripheral port in terms of the versatility. The fact that it can deal with charging, pass-through, daisy chaining, display output. Like, Thunderbolt 3 is a beast port to have in terms of versatility. So I don't mind ports for that. I just don't agree with not having an SD card slot. That is a big mistake. It was a premature move. Apple lover loves his MacBook Pro because he wants to be cool with the kids. I am going to block Apple lover. Sorry. So of course it's more power. Apple hasn't refreshed their laptop lineup since the 8th gen. I'm sure Apple will sell 200 by SE. Seriously, it's yeah. I switched to Android exactly 1 year ago. The MacBook Pro is one of the most powerful machines soon, and the hardware. So, man, dude, seriously, just calm this guy down. The most powerful. it's Mac OS that's powerful, not the hardware. Apple lover, you obviously, yeah, it will still be behind. It's chips, no more talking. Have marketed their products to be cool. Kids love them. Apple lover, where did you go? Sorry, I had to just put him on a timeout because he's just getting too. He's not engaging properly. I don't like drama in my chats. So it's either you engage properly, you get put on a timeout, you get blocked. Sorry. I'm not for unnecessary drama. By the way, go check out Brandon Havard's MacBook, you know, iMac Pro review. And I've not used the 15-inch MacBook Pro, the new generation one. So I can't give my full verdict to say why it's bad and why it's not. I just have to trust people that I know they're my buddies in tech. I talk to them regularly. They do more pro level stuff than most of us could even think of doing, right? So if they're saying a product is not good because that's their workhorse, but they're saying another is good because that's their workhorse, I'm gonna trust it. You know, I may not ever get the opportunity to ever use an iMac Pro. I may not ever get the opportunity to use a, you know, MacBook Pro in any generation, shape or form. So I've got to trust them. And the thing is, for me to say that the iMac Pro base model is actually their best value desktop or computer to buy, period, I'm not saying that as a fanboy. It's just I know computer hardware enough. I've been building my own PCs for time. Yes, maybe I do disagree with the fact that they've got Workstation Xeon processing there rather than the Core i9 consumer processors, but at the end of the day, they've optimized it for it to work well with both Premiere as well as Final Cut and all the other, you know, Motion, Logic, all the other first-party Apple products in terms of software, you know. So it's a shame because the power of having portability of a laptop is phenomenal, and that's something I need. I need of all the things I need right now, I need a beefy laptop, at least a GTX 1060. I definitely want an 8th gen 6-core 12-thread 8750H or the i9. I need it. Like I can't be stationary and working. I need to be able to edit on the go, you know. And Adobe really doing this update, and if you've not watched Dimitri's video from Hardware Canucks or Steve from Gamers Nexus, all the new Intel CPUs with the iGPU graphics built in, the Intel HD 620 and above, right, with NVIDIA graphics, the export times with 4K and any video in Premiere is phenomenal. Like, I kid you not, a new 8th generation laptop would actually be faster than a desktop when it comes to video editing, which is insane. So for that reason alone, you know, and the fact that my biggest problem is the fact that you cannot put 32 gigabytes of RAM on any of the MacBook Pros, and I don't even think you'll be able to do that with the refresh. That is a big problem for a laptop at that price, irrespective of optimization. I can't, you know, no. I like this stream. Oh, thank you. Timeout. That sounds bad, but there's a difference between a tech lover and an Apple lover. One can be non-biased. The other will be, the other will tell you you're wrong. Yeah, I love how Apple fanboy defending Apple products. Yeah. Look, you see, man, this live stream is diverting somewhere else. I'm gonna put it out there. There is nothing wrong being a fan of a company. There is nothing wrong being a fan of a product, but just don't be delusional to it. Like, have an open mind. You actually critiquing a company that you love in terms of their products and also their product line. Yeah, it comes from a place because you like them and you love them a lot, that you want them to be better. Don't be blind to certain things that they're doing wrong or they're being slow to you, but yet acknowledge, like, you have to acknowledge that Apple has an amazing retail experience. They have an amazing retail presence. You know, the value in a company that makes their own software, designs their own hardware, right? And after sales has that experience. It carries a lot of value. It does, but it does not take away from the fact that there's certain things that they are not doing right. You know, you just have to accept that. You just have to accept that. Simple. There's no because of you trying to justify your purchase or something. You know, go watch Taylor. Taylor Swift Tech is not the person I'm gonna watch. He's openly biased. Dude, he's openly biased. I watch Drew. I respect his content. His work rate is phenomenal. His work rate is actually very inspiring, but I'm not going to go to someone that is Apple biased to get affirmation or confirmation for something. That I don't. Be an Apple fan. Love their products. They are a great company, irrespective of things that they do right or wrong. They are a great company. But you telling me to go watch Drew from Taylor Swift Tech to get affirmation, I don't get what that's meant to do. Sorry. Yeah, correct, Ben. I can't find a laptop with a screen better than my MacBook Pro. Yeah, bro. Minus the touchscreen, the MacBook Pro display is phenomenal. The MacBook Pro display is on point. It's bright, it's sharp, it's well calibrated. I think LG built that panel for them. MacBook Pro IPS display is phenomenal. It's great. It's great. Dan, Taylor Swift Tech. Like, Apple lover, I don't mind you being in the stream, but don't use any curse words. Don't swear at anyone. Engage with people properly, or else I'm gonna block you. I'm happy to have you on the stream, but just engage with people properly. Income source. What income source? Linux tech tips. Man makes my head hurt. Drew is openly Apple bias. Yeah, Apple changed the subjects, fam. I'm gonna change it soon. Dan, please don't talk to me. I already asked you. Oh, okay, look, how far are we into the stream? Right, let's talk about the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. So this is for my creatives and my people into camera video. So, you know, this is gonna spark a lot of conversation based around what camera is important, what focus is important, you know, and what things you should be looking for as a creator. So let me see if I can find the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K page. Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. Bang. Let's go here. Where's Blackmagic's website? Blackmagic Design. Cinema 4K. Tech specs. Alright, so let me see if I can webcam and desktop. So I'm not going to be able to see the chat, but let me just maximize this so we can go through. So this is going to be one of the products, as well as the Atmos Ninja 5. So let me actually talk about the Atmos Ninja 5. So shout out to the Everyday Dad. Let me open up the Atmos Ninja 5, and I'm gonna, there's a reason why I'm excited about this, and this is for someone like me that I'm not a pro video maker, or I'm not a pro video producer, sorry, but I really learned to enjoy video. And you know, like, I'm a low-key gearhead as well, which is kind of a good and a bad thing at the same time. But Atmos Ninja 5. Ooh. Let me not jump ahead. So let's go to this. So Blackmagic is an Australian company. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Blackmagic Ursa Mini 4.6K video camera as well. But basically, this is meant to be competing indirectly or directly with the Panasonic Lumix GH5, right? And just the body alone. Now, this is actually coming out, released hopefully in September. but just the body alone in lovely UK pounds, in UK, £1,029. In US, it's going to be £1,295. And for what this can do, wow, like big wow. And I knew about the, you know, Pocket Cinema Camera 4K with NAB, the National Association, I think the National Association for Broadcasters convention in Las Vegas that they did like a couple of months ago. So obviously this camera got a lot of hype. There's another camera that deserves a lot of hype as well. This is the Z camera. It's the Z camera E2 that I'm really excited about. But what makes this amazing is the price, the fact that it has a massive 5-inch 1080p touchscreen at the back. So it's not a tilt screen, but it's like having a field monitor built into the back of your camera, which is mad, right? Obviously, it's a full active Micro Four Thirds mount. So all you guys that use the Panasonic and Olympus cameras, you can use all your lenses on here, Micro Four Thirds, but it's the GH5S sensor. So you've got the, you know, you've got the dual native ISO, as well as the dual native ISO, which is going to make low light performance really good. You've got a full 4/3 sensor, so there's no crop factor. It's the wider field of view, which is phenomenal. But look at the shooting resolutions. So you've got DCI, which is digital cinema incentives, right? 4E96 by 2160. Then you've got the ultra high definition, what you call it, resolution as well, UHD, 1080p, full HD, which is FHD, not HD, FHD. Then you've got the resolutions that it can shoot out as well. So you can shoot up to 60 frames a second in DCI 4K. And what the 120 frames a second in HD mode is, it crops in by ×4, which I don't think is going to be usable. So if you want slow motion, stick to 60 frames a second 4K. You've got focus button at the back, and obviously it's contrast based. There isn't continuous phase detection autofocus like you get on Canon and Sony, which is obviously awesome on their side. There's no autofocus. You do not get this camera for autofocus, right? What you're getting this camera for is price. If you look at the connections, you've got a 3.5mm headphone jack. You've got a USB Type-C where you can charge the camera, as well as use an SSD. So if you can see here, this is my Samsung T5 250GB SSD drive, right? C and USB Type-C. So you can actually plug your hard drive into the camera directly and record your video directly onto the hard drive, right? And then just you don't even need to transfer. You just plug your hard drive into your computer and edit off it straight away. You've got a full-size HDMI port as well, and this is the HDMI 2.0 standard, so it can actually output 422 10-bit. I'm really sorry for all the technical jargon, guys, but like, I'm just assuming you guys know about 422 10-bit color, and it can do 4K 60 frames a second externally from the full-size HDMI port, and it's 2.0, which is phenomenal. And you've got mini XLR, so you can actually have 48-volt phantom power. So let's put it this way, like my Rode condenser mic, this amazing studio condenser mic here, right? It requires phantom power with XLR. I can actually plug this camera, this microphone directly into the camera with no mixer or like I can just plug this in directly and it will give it the normal 48-volt phantom power. Sorry, let me just move that away. I'm gonna come back to the chat soon. I need a second screen to be able to see chat and talk to you guys. And so if you can see that, you see that's a massive screen at the back. You've got the mic in, headphone jack, full-size HDMI, USB Type-C where you can charge and transfer and record off. You've got a DC 12-volt power in, so you can continuously power the camera from a DC 12-volt power plug, which is phenomenal. Then you've got your mini XLR phantom power as well, which is phenomenal. Your tripod mount in, your battery, which uses like your normal Canon LP6 batteries, which is great because they're cheap to buy. And if you're a Canon user from before, you've got them. But you know what I'm really excited for? And I don't know if you guys know much about video codecs, you know about MOV, you know about MP4, which is H.264, as well as H.265 in terms of higher compression, but you know, higher bit rates, less space and all that stuff. But this records, look at the supported codecs. Let me put in perspective. These kind of video codecs are something that you will get internally from something like a Red Scarlett W5K, which is like a 10 to 15,000 pounds camera body only without the modules, right? This has all the flavors of ProRes. ProRes is, I've not recorded and I've not edited with ProRes, but ProRes is phenomenal. ProRes is like, you've got high quality ProRes 422 and the ProRes Lite, as well as ProRes Proxy, and then you've got Cinema DNG Raw. If any of you know anything about raw photography, raw video is not an easy thing to pull off, and you'll get an internal raw recording with this. Like, there's no intermediate soft easy to record to codecs like MP4, but ProRes, even ProRes LT or even ProRes 422 Proxy, wow, seriously, this is a game changer. And look at the storage type. So you can do external SSD, you've got SD, which is the UHS-2 standard, and then you've got the CFast, which is what you find in like your Canon C200. Again, I'm sorry if I'm boring people with video and camera specs and stuff. We're gonna get to smartphones soon, but I just want to talk about camera gear that I'm excited about and what this means for people wanting to experience kind of like a higher video quality but a much more accessible price, and an entry into actually having proper video features, right? And let me put it into perspective. My Sony a6300, right, shoots some of the most amazing 6K footage in a hybrid camera, right? You have a 6K image, which is 6,000 by 4,000, 24 megapixels. It's recording that, but it's squeezing that into an 8.3 megapixel UHD 4K image, right? The thing is crispy AF, legitly crispy, right? But it's shooting that in XAVHS or MP4, 100 megabits B, small b, megabits per second. Even if I was recording UHD 4K in ProRes Lite LT 422 10-bit, I'm gonna be getting that at 51 megabytes, big B per second. The bit rate and the information you're gonna get from that, and the fact that it's gonna be an easier codec to edit on your computer as well, wow. And you're getting that in a camera that is actually £1,000. This is a game changer for the video industry, especially when it comes to people such as individual indie filmmakers like ourselves, us YouTubers, as well as, you know, filmmakers as well, right? Even before you get to Cinema DNG Raw, which, wow, to get internal Raw, you have to spend money on something like a C200, which is like a £7,000 camera. And the fact that you get DaVinci Resolve Studio, which is their full editing and color grading software, which is worth £300 included. Wow. I don't know why I missed it, but I think maybe it's the fact that my knowledge for ProRes and RAW for video just came to light right now, and I saw the price and I saw how easily accessible it is. Wow. People need to be excited for this camera. Let me go back to the chat. Sorry for leaving. I don't have two screens, so I can't see the chat and talk to you guys at the same time. I'm just gonna go back. Let's talk about the Pixel 3. Pixel 3 is gonna come after. Here, have a tissue. Dan, how about the G7 autofocus? The Blackmagic looks nice and well priced. Shemitz, it looks like 80s Olympus. £1,000. Yeah, the pricing is very impressive. Price to sell well. Absolutely, Mark. For what you get, it's impressive. Yeah, no, for what you get, it's impressive. So it comes with 1080p 60 frames or above. 4K 60. Oh yeah. 4K 60 is let me state, it's not just 4K 60, right? The Panasonic GH5 and 5S with the new update does 4K 60 frames a second at 420 8-bit at 400 megabits per second. We're talking about small b. This is doing 4K 60 frames a second in RAW, as well as Apple ProRes. Even Apple ProRes HQ, you're looking at 250 megabytes per second. That's going to take up a lot of storage, but the bitrate and the data information and the fact that it's going to be so easy to edit on your computer, it will blow your mind. Honestly, that is a game changer. Now obviously the downsides that I'm seeing with this is supposedly Blackmagic's reputation in terms of stock, quality control, delivering on, you know, expectations in terms of like shipping dates and stock and whatnot is a problem. This is not a camera you get if you want good autofocus. It doesn't have autofocus. It's just got, it says there's autofocus that's available with compatible lenses. You don't get it for autofocus. The same with the G7 and all the other Lumix lines, which I hope they're going to change. You do not get those cameras. It's not because of the Micro Four Thirds. It's the fact that they're using a contrast-based detection system. They're not using phase detection autofocus or dual pixel autofocus. Yeah, this is not a camera you get for autofocus. So if autofocus is a priority, don't get this camera. Just don't. Save your breath. Save your breath. This is meant to mimic how cinema cameras behave, because most cinema cameras, minus the Canon lineup, don't use autofocus. So I'm seeing that to be a problem. The fact that it doesn't have an intermediate codec like MP4, H.264, H.265, it's going to be kind of a hard thing for people to swallow, because it mentally wrapping your head around how much data is going to take up recording even in ProRes LT 42 10-bit on an SD card. You're going to have an SD card that literally is 256. This is where it's going to be so much better, and I think it's such an amazing thing, and it makes so much sense that they've got a USB Type-C port that does everything, transfer and charge. This is just going to be your biggest winner, right, externally, and it's going to be so much cheaper than buying SD cards. And wow, ProRes, Apple ProRes, that codec is phenomenal. It's no joke. That's great. And 4K 120, no, so it does HD 120, but it does it in a ×4 crop mode. So yeah, that's kind of like the downside to it. So this is gonna blow your mind if you actually slow your footage to, yeah, honestly like 4K 60 frames a second with that bit rate. Is the bit rate with that information, it is gonna look so, oh mate, I see the notches are back again. What's good, C Concept Creator? Shout out to Concept Creator in the house, almost on 90k subscribers. What's good, bro? Thank you for joining the stream. Sorry, I'm a bit tired tonight. I've had a long day, and the live stream started later than expected, so apologies for that, man. This is kind of going to be a slightly longer live stream because I want to talk about the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K. You know, what people look for in a camera, what this is going to be doing for the consumer, prosumer video space, especially at the price and the features that you're getting. There's so many good usability things with it, as well as the drawbacks as well. But I think this is such an interesting camera to get because it is offering genuine pro level features at an unreal price. If you take away the fact that you're getting DaVinci Resolve 15 full studio, it's worth £300, you're effectively buying a £700 camera with a prosumer level hardware controls in there, which is insane. Like I really hope Blackmagic pull off the release and the supply of the demand of this camera, because this is a game changer. You know, it doesn't have the things that I really wish, you know, prosumer hybrid shooters will do, you know. Like, good autofocus, I don't think it's so hard. Like, I know most people will be like, it's not important. Yeah, of course, you but just, you know, yeah, good autofocus. But what are we looking at? I know, right? Draw 4K 120 is just amazing. Yeah, and the Z Camera E2 does, supposedly when it launches in July this month, it's gonna be able to do 4K 120 frames a second. It's also a micro four thirds sensor as well. Let me see if I can pull up the Z Camera E2 and show you guys. Z Camera E2. Sorry. My hotkeys. All right, so let's switch over to webcam and desktop. So check this. So this is another camera to, you know, point your direction to, in terms of the price as well. This is the Z-Cam trademark E2, right? This is another company that kind of went under the radar at NAB, and they also need, they're not as well reputable as Blackmagic, obviously, right? But what they're putting on the table is phenomenal. 4K at 120 frames a second, 10-bit color, 422 at H.264 and H.265. Now, the codecs are nowhere near as advanced as what Blackmagic are doing. Obviously, Blackmagic's codec with RAW, right, and ProRes is a much better codec, but this codec is going to be more friendly to what we're used to using on our SD cards, right? So it's going to be a lot harder to edit with compared to ProRes. You're not going to get the ridiculous bit rates, but 4K 120 frames a second in 10-bit color, wow. The pixel size in terms of 4.63 microns for a micro four thirds sensor is crazy. And because it's using a micro four thirds mount, all your Lumix G7 and all the Lumix and Olympus you know, lenses will work on here as well. You've got gigabit Ethernet built in, so you can live stream straight to the internet. And it's got a full size HDMI output that does, like what I said to you, 4K at 60 frames a second over the HDMI externally in 10-bit, and it also has an SDI port as well. So if you guys don't know what SDI port is, it's similar to HDMI, but it's a very, very, very high data transfer rate. And the SDI port is what allows RAW to be captured externally to something like a recorder from Atomos, which we're going to talk about after. So again, for those that are not into camera gear and videos and stuff, I apologize, but this conversation is for my creatives, the people that love camera gear. We're going to get to smartphones very soon, and I'm going to open the floor for people to express what their opinions are on the Pixel 3 design, what they're expecting from the Pixel 3 in terms of performance, camera, and so many other things. But let's talk about camera gear. I love camera gear, so I want to talk about it. This is the camera that so far almost has the slight upper hand on Blackmagic, because it's meant to be coming out in July, whereas Blackmagic are meant to be releasing their camera, the BMC's, the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4R. That camera is a mouthful. 4K in September. So if this comes out and this really impresses people when they get their hands on to review it, this might very much so have the upper hand on Blackmagic. Sorry, skip. Yep. So just skipping the tracks. So yeah, this is great. I mean, what is, hold on one moment. Sorry guys, give me one moment. Apologies, I'm back. Let me take this sunglasses off. ND filter. Apologies for running away. Okay, never heard of it. Okay, so let me just go back and find out what's going on. No autofocus is no sell then when you do everything yourself, and only manual focus is just well, enjoy it. No autofocus is no sell. Yeah, yeah. So I think Canon and Sony have really progressed autofocus technology to the point where I think it's so good that you can rely on autofocus. It wasn't the case before, but you can rely on autofocus now. So autofocus, I could not have done the review of the S9 Plus in a 30-minute one take if it wasn't for how good the autofocus was on the A6300. I just couldn't have. To manually focus every single shot is time consuming. It's not impossible, but it adds up and it's time consuming. If your camera's autofocus is that good that you can trust it to track certain shots, it allows you to be free to create without having to worry. And you know, like, it can be a deal breaker for some people. So you do not get the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera 4K for autofocus. That's not what it's there for. Exploit the hack into some mounts operators. Yeah. There's no point in war against Windows. Oh, Everyday Dad in the house. What's good, man? What's good? I assume we're talking about the BMC, and yeah, being able to record to SSD might change. You guys, if you do not know about Everyday Dad, go check out his channel, subscribe to him. He's like the best person for gear and tips and tricks and all of that stuff. So Everyday Dad, thank you for joining the live stream. And this is the part where this is for us creatives. Like, I wanted to get the camera stuff out of the way because it blew my mind, the fact that I missed. And I think maybe it's because my knowledge of ProRes, I've never shot or used ProRes, but my knowledge and understanding of what ProRes and RAW for photo and video, it just blew my mind that how is the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K doing this internally at this price? That's insane. How are they doing that at that price? You know, so yes, the shortcomings are the fact that there's no autofocus on that camera, so forget it. It doesn't have an articulating screen, even though the 5-inch screen at the back, it's literally like having a field monitor built into the back of your screen, which is a pro and a con. You know, so, you know, you're still going to need an external monitor, but it's just like what Blackmagic are doing with this camera, if they can actually, you know, meet the supply and demands. Like, I'm excited for the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, and I might actually get it as my 4K 60 frames a second live streaming camera, as well as when I actually want to control and do some professional stuff, right? Have ProRes and RAW. Wow, yeah, I'm excited for that. Thanks for the welcome, True. I'm excited for it, but I doubt I'll get it. But I need out of a camera like that. That is exactly what the GH5, and I've tried Resolve and I can't break myself away from Final Cut Pro. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to your non-linear editing software, your NLE that you use, you know, you do like what you like using, to be fair. And I've heard great stuff about Final Cut Pro. My biggest reason why I was gonna switch to Final Cut Pro was because of the render and the export times, especially. Like, you know, exporting that final video, you know, was just, but Adobe did the best update that they've ever done to Adobe, and export times in 4K on Adobe on an Intel based processor with iGPU and QuickSync video, the QSV, is almost Final Cut good. And I almost have no reason to get Final Cut now, you know. So Apple lover, just let the conversation go, honestly. Okay, latest Ben. Oh, Dan, thank you, man. Sears, I'll catch up with you later on. So they are faster. They are a faster target. Anyone into crypto? Not too much into crypto. Okay. So he well, thanks so much. Yo, Android Stud in the house. What's good, bro? Another Sony A6300 Alpha family user. I don't have the computer processor power to handle RAW, but I'm looking forward to recording ProRes with my Ninja 5. Yes, oh my goodness, we need to talk about the Ninja 5. Thank you for reminding me. So we're going to talk about the Ninja 5 and what you just said about the processing power to handle RAW. I am so, now that my knowledge for RAW and ProRes, ProRes RAW is a game changer. If we can have the editing efficiency of ProRes and RAW and it works, wow. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Atmos Ninja 5. And again, Everyday Dad, I blame you because I did not know about the Atmos Ninja 5. I did not need to know. And I secretly dream about this product now. I like the Andy Cine. If you look at the Andy Cine field monitor that I have, right? The Andy Cine field monitor that I have. Let me just switch to here. This is it. So the Andy Cine A6 or the Field World F6 field monitor that I have, which if you have any camera, especially any of the Sony Alpha series cameras, you need this field monitor. You need either this one or the iCan D5HE, which is a similar size monitor that has a touchscreen, or the small HD Focus. It's 5.7 inches. This Ninja 5 is a 5.2 inch display specifically. So one, it is smaller than the Andy Cine. It's a touchscreen. It has a HDMI in. This is 2.0 in, as well as the HDMI out 2.0 as well, right? It has an SSD slot, so you can actually put a 2.5 inch, not just SSD, but a 2.5 inch hard drive that is fast enough to handle the bit rates that it records at for, again, all the same, what do you call it, ProRes benefits that you get in terms of, you know, the bit rates and, you know, ProRes 42HQ, 42LT, all the flavors of ProRes, you get this on here, as well as DNX as well, right? And it is powerful enough to be able to record RAW, but there is technically no way for you to externally record RAW or ProRes RAW over HDMI. You can only do that over the SDI port, but it's powerful enough to, right? This Atmos Ninja 5 is another game changer. Like, the thing is smaller than this already small field monitor, but yet it's not just the fact that the screen is brighter, but you can actually use it as an external monitor, an external recorder, sorry. And look at what it can do. This is literally the Ninja Inferno, the big behemoth 7-inch Ninja Inferno in a baby size. This is no joke. And for the price, I've said this and I've said this already, small HD are in big trouble. The small HD is priced at $500. I don't know, maybe it's a bit cheaper now, but this is priced at $695. So you're telling me that for an extra $200, I'm not only getting a better field monitor because of screen brightness and what it is, but I can actually use it as an external recorder. Now, again, I don't know if it has a DC out to be able to use a dummy battery to actually power your smartphone to get external power, which I think is a really big deal if you're using an Alpha series camera. But nonetheless, wow. Wow, big wow. 4K 60 frames a second externally. Look at that, Apple ProRes Avid DNX, right? You're looking at an HDMI 2.0 out. HD, full HD, up to 240 frames a second, depending on the camera that supports it, right? And 150 minutes of recording on a 1 terabyte hard drive. Ideally an SSD, but on a 1 terabyte hard drive, you're getting 150 minutes. That's 2.5 hours of recording onto an SD card continuously. Like, look at a bit like, this is a game changer. This is sick. This is sick. And just looking at what is coming with the Blackmagic, you know, Pocket Cinema 4K, the Zcam E2, and this, the point I'm trying to make now is we are in one of the best times at the moment to be able to create in terms of video. Like, we are in such an amazing time. The accessibility to be able to create at such a high quality that is easy to manage and have access to is phenomenal. Like, there is no better time to be alive until maybe the next 2 years when this elevates again. This is phenomenal. This is phenomenal. This is phenomenal. Again, audio check and let me know if the background music is coming through nicely. You know me, I'm a sucker for good background music, so apologies for that. Autofocus is awesome, but I almost feel like it's hampering me. I'm going to get rid of the A7 III's going. You can always send it to me as a free gift. No, I'm joking. I use the A63 on it if I need autofocus and a GA5 for everything else. Yeah, honestly. Yo, Aaron, 2 Minute Tech, the latest creator of awesomeness. What's good, bro? Thank you for joining, Aaron. Shout out to Aaron as well, man. Great channel that he has going. I'm off. I'm gonna watch some Westworld. All right, bro. Jay, I'm gonna holler at you tomorrow. I'll give you a call, bro. Thanks for joining the stream as always, man. I appreciate it. Abbas Osman, worth it. Okay. Cool. So the point I'm trying to get at is, who is this camera for? This camera is for independent filmmakers and us video content creators. You have to manage your expectations. If your shooting style is an A-roll on camera person, you cannot rely on it for autofocus. You have to literally manual focus everything. I hope the external application that they're going to use for this camera works well enough to be able to manual focus well with an external app. You have to rely on manual focus. It's going to be a pain if you're going to need to set reframe every single time, but you have to manage that expectation. But if your style is more, I'm going to use someone like, you know, Aaron or, you know, Roger from Life of Tech, or even Everyday Dad. Not so much everyday. Yeah, I can say, but as in someone like, let's just say someone like Life of Tech, right? Or even Concepts Creator, again. Yeah, see Concepts Creator. If you do not do any A-roll where you're on camera like this and you are strictly doing B-roll and you're doing voiceover, then the Blackmagic Cinema Camera, Pocket Cinema Camera 4K could be such an amazing camera to have in terms of the filmic look you're gonna get, the data rate, the bit rate. It could seriously, it's a serious video camera. It should not be mistaken. But if you're like me, you like to kind of get creative with your shots, you rely on autofocus to make the shooting process quicker and faster in terms of turnaround time, because autofocus has become so good that you can rely on it now, especially on the newer cameras like your SL2s, your 6D Mark IIs, your Canon M50, your A63, 65, A7 III, A7R III, A9. All these cameras, the autofocus is so good that you can rely on them. It was never the case before, but the technology has just progressed that damn well. This is a great time. This is a great time for the options of what's going to be your first prosumer kind of level video camera for YouTube or whatever. Wow, this is one of them. Oh my days. First time I checked out the Tech and Chill show, man. Music level's good and your graphics look great, man. Using Streamlabs OBS. I'm just using normal OBS. I need to actually jump on Streamlabs so I can actually use that as well. Oh, my ears. I am actually sweating like a PIG. Oh dear. Sorry. Whew, sorry. So hot in here. Crazy. What's up, Andrew Stud? Yes. So that's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think, you know, and smart. Okay, so we're just over an hour into the live stream, so I'm gonna try and round this out. So let's talk about the Pixel 3. So the Google Pixel 3, I always say that obviously let's take things with a grain of salt. Let's take things with a grain of salt. I always say let's take things with a grain of salt, based on the fact that leaks are leaks. You know, that's the best way I can put it, you know. But if leaks are true, which unfortunately nowadays, like, leaks are just too true for their own good, right? And if leaks are true, which they tend to be, so I'm just checking out Twitter. Apologies if leaks. Let me just check the sound levels. Yeah, sorry. So if leaks are true, the Pixel 3 XL, again, let me just pull this out. Sorry. I'm all over the place on this live stream, guys. I really apologize. I can't actually find where my Pixel 3 is. Oh, I'll look for it after. But I've got my Pixel 2, right? And what? Again, like I admitted before, there is one. It's weird me saying this here, but there is one thing I really hate admitting, because I like a versatile camera. The Pixel 2 does not have a versatile camera. The reason what I mean about versatility is it doesn't have an optical zoom, it doesn't have a wide angle camera, it doesn't give you the control that I kind of like from what I've been getting from Apple and Samsung with their dual camera setups, right? In terms of like dual optical image stabilization with telephoto zoom, the high video shooting frame rates that you get, and also just the fact that you're able to kind of change the look of your live focus or your portrait mode pictures before and after you take the shot, like, you know, the portrait lighting modes, live focus where you can adjust the blur before and after. The Pixel doesn't give you that granular versatile control, and it doesn't have a pro shooting mode, right? And those things, I know to the average consumer, it doesn't really concern them. And this is where the Pixel, you know, this is where the Pixel's approach to a powerful point and shoot camera really comes into light, right? This is where it comes into light. And I get that. But if there's one thing I will definitely admit, when it comes to the point and shoot photography king on a smartphone, for photography, video is another story. In terms of granular control, the Pixel 2 has been boss. It has absolutely been boss, and it has genuinely impressed me more than I thought it would. This is where it will definitely hold its own when it comes to October, when it's going to be probably October the 4th, give or take, around that time that the Pixel 3 and the 3 XL is going to get announced. And that's not what I'm worried about. I think Google might even pull a fast one, and a lot of people don't realize that Qualcomm actually announced the Snapdragon 850 after the 845. I think they might actually pull a fast one and actually get the 850 in there like they did with the 821 or the 820. I might be wrong, but I'm just gonna throw it out there. So I think my let's look at it. It's better the two set the bar for them. Pixel camera is dummy proof. Yeah, it is. It's a dummy proof system that I don't like personally, because I'm a person that I like a granular control, you know, and I've kind of just been spoilt by that on the iPhone 10 and the S9 Plus and the Note 8. You know, they gave you that kind of a bit more granular control of what you want to be doing with your pictures while you're taking them, which you don't get in the Pixel 2. But for what it does with a single lens for photography, it's phenomenal. I just don't like stock Android, and I got my Pixel 2. I've got my Pixel 2. I got it. I got the iPhone. I got it because I wanted to not just have a phone that was a good reference phone for my ultimate camera comparison series, which if you've not checked it out, there's a playlist for ultimate camera comparisons. But I also wanted to feed my curiosity since my Nexus days to confirm, do I still not like stock Android? Because I genuinely feel like it lacks any flavor. I get it's vanilla, right? But it lacks any flavor and spice that makes anything exciting to use. Compared to when I used the OnePlus 5 and the 5T, I actually felt like this is a much better version of what stock Android should be. It's not excessive, but there's the fine little touches in how it behaves, and I just feel like Google doesn't do it for me when it comes to stock Android. And I think sometimes, as a self-proclaimed more Android guy or a tech reviewer, you kind of get pushed into this thing of, if you don't like stock, there's something wrong, or you have to like stock. I tried. I have a Pixel 2. Boring. So I feel like Google's mindset is they are an AI first company. You know, Google's an AI first company. They are going to be pushing AI through their camera technology, through software automation and recognition. They do not care about hardware. If you watch the Pixel 2 keynote, they basically made it clear that the hardware race is not something they're about. Google's mindset is not hardware. Google does not care about hardware. Google doesn't care about hardware design. They really do not. They don't. This is why they based on the leaks, it pretty much shows that they lack originality from the fact that they have a top chin, a bottom chin, and also a fat notch. They've almost lost me when it comes to that. Again, it's leaks. Take it with a grain of salt. But I just don't. I don't think even to the point where I actually think that they still will put a 4GB RAM module in the phone, which it to me, why would you do that? Again, because they do not care about hardware. That's not what they're there for. They're there for AI automation, recognition, and using their AI software information to push their camera tech, right? And any other thing else that they can optimize for, whether it's those for better standby time, battery optimization, quick charging, you know, power delivery through USB Type-C. You know, that's what Google's approach is. And maybe I'm hardware biased, but I just hardware matters to me personally. I know the software end user experience is one thing, but you know, I've not scanned through to see any Pixel, you know, let me see, Pixel 3 XL leaks. Let me see. I'm trying to find any leaked schematics of the Pixel 3. I'm not seeing anything too much. Yeah, okay, so I found something here. Let me switch to webcam and desktop full screen it. So I'm going to be looking at the chat June on my phone, on my iPhone 10. Let me look. Pixel cameras done with through customization is king on OnePlus. Yeah, and it's just the little touches. So it says Pixel 3 features and specs are dual cameras and a squeezable design inbound. So if you look at the front, look at that. Wow, look at that bottom chin. And I get that there's dual speakers that they're trying to do, but it's just gonna be an eyesore and an inferior design look, you know. So I don't know. For me, this doesn't excite me. It lacks originality. Is it still gonna be popular? I think it's gonna be popular to the stock Android enthusiasts that have respect, and I respect stock Android, you know. But if this is what the design is gonna be, I'm not that interested. Again, I'm definitely gonna pick up this phone because obviously the camera is something I really want to test. I'm gonna want to test the camera and see if it will hold up as the photography king. I still probably won't 100% recommend it for video because I just don't think that they care about video enough, and I won't give it a granular pro controls that you want, you know. But you know, that's the best way I can put it. That's the best way I can put it. But yeah, I really didn't have too much to say. The only thing I can pretty much say is that, okay, got a roll, man. Dig the stream. I'll catch next one. Thank you, Aaron, for rolling through on the stream. Oh my goodness, I'm sweating like a pig. Sorry, it's so hot. Even with the window open, man. Summertime in UK is kind of like really, you know, sauced up a bit. Got a roll. Dig the stream. Thank you again, Aaron. Let's see who messaged on Twitter.
He's human after all. Take off the mask.
Yes, so I'm excited for what Google are gonna bring to the point and shoot photography space for smartphones. I am, but the phone overall as a package, I want more for my phone. I want more for my phone, and I just don't think Google care enough about hardware to offer more to the consumer at that price. So I again stand by the fact that I feel like it's an overpriced Nexus phone. I'm sorry to say this. I still can't shake that feeling using it. It's an overpriced Nexus phone. You know, don't get me wrong. I get why people respect stock Android. I get the appeal, but I just, you know, I think hardware wise, they need to offer a bit more. The design is functional, but it's just too plain Jane and boring. It has no elegance. It has no extra functionality to it. It doesn't even have facial recognition. How secure or unsecure it is beside the point, but the Pixel 2 doesn't have facial recognition. Just basic face, like there's little stuff, you know. But I respect it. I get it. I have to give it a crown for best smartphone photography point and shoot camera. I do. But again, I wish I had more granular controls. I wish the video capabilities were a lot better, because the video on the Pixel 2, kind of minus the stabilization, to me is trash. It's soft. It just to me doesn't look good. That's my opinion. It just doesn't look good. But yeah, that's kind of like, you know, the only two things that really kind of caught my attention this week, especially when it came to, like, you know, the camera gear. I'm gonna get into some tidbits and just talk about kind of like my experience with the A6300 in general, and just kind of round it up. And I really want Sony to release the A6700. This A6300 has been great, but when you get it, the best way I can describe it is it's like a reference camera. It's like a reference camera, right? The overheating is a problem. The screen is absolutely atrocious. It's atrocious. Not even just for the fact that it doesn't articulate out, but it dims when you're shooting in the 4K mode. It's the screen is not usable. The EVF is great. The screen's not usable. But the form factor is amazing. Like the form factor is amazing. Sony and the battery life. The battery life is atrocious. If I didn't say that already. Sony need to bring out the A6700. They need to put a touchscreen. They need to improve the new Z batteries, the MPF, you know, the MPF Z batteries. They need to put a full articulating screen on there. Please do not let the Canon M50 get all the shine for that. Put that on the camera, Sony. And if they fix the internal overheating problems, put a better processor in there. Even if they kept the shooting modes exactly the same, 1080p, 120 frames a second with no crop APS-C, 4K 30 frames a second, 24 frames a second with no cropping APS-C, they do all of this, this camera is going to be a game changer. Because the problem with the A6300 is, and it's not too much of a big deal, you need to get a cage, you need to get a dummy battery externally, you need to get a field monitor. And what it does is it changes the whole size and the ergonomics. So it's great as a smaller camera that you rig up, but I really want Sony to bring out the A6700 and fix all these issues. That's my biggest feedback, that I like this camera, but I almost don't love it away from the usability. But I am glad that I've been able to hack it to be able to fix all the usability problems that I was experiencing with before. Did I? Oh man, I missed Zach Talks Tech. Oh, sorry, Zach. Apologies for missing Zach Talks Tech. I'm seeing if I'm going through all the comments about, yeah, I don't have the computer process. Oh, I missed Tech for Your Needs as well. Ah, sorry guys, literally, like, I've been missing people from the live stream. Apologies for that. To Zach Tool Techs and Tech for Your Needs, sorry, I didn't intentionally need to miss you from the stream, but hope you guys are well. I'm pretty much gonna close out the stream. It was late starting anyway, so apologies for that. I don't want it to go on for too long. But yeah, that is it for me, I guess. I have not really got much to say apart from that. Thank you guys for joining the live stream. If there's anything that you guys want to do, definitely hit me up on Twitter, follow the socials. All the links to my social media is down below. Follow me on Instagram for IGTV. I will be having more content for IGTV soon. I definitely want to do that when I get my new lenses, so I can actually do some updates on there. I've got some behind the scenes that I need to edit and record for client work that I did, so I'm gonna put that on IGTV, put some behind the scenes. Let me know if you guys actually want to see any form of behind the scenes stuff apart from just vlogging on the main YouTube channel, but head over to IGTV for that. So Instagram TV, my Instagram account is in the link in the description below. Follow me on Twitter as well, Lover of Tech BA, the initials BA, all is one word. Definitely, man, I love Twitter. The engagement there is awesome, so hit me up on there. I'll be more than happy to engage, but don't spam. And if you wanted to know how the live streams are so crispy, without a shadow of a doubt, link in the description below. Turn your DSLR and your mirrorless camera into your webcam, and also for live streaming, that is the Elgato Cam Link. Not sponsored, but it's a link in the description below, and it is probably the best investment that you can use. You can use it as an external recorder. You can record straight unlimited in MP4 externally over the HDMI port, 1080p 60. You can use it as your capture card for your PlayStation. And the main thing is it tricks and uses your mirrorless and DSLR camera as your webcam. So it works plug and play with everything, Skype, video calls, you know, live streams like this. So it really makes a difference. Gotta love the live stream. We'll catch the next one. Awesome. Thank you. And live stream is closing out. And again, watch out for new content that's going to be coming out. I'm going to be dropping my Pixel 2 review very soon and get that out of the way. Get rid of that and yeah, get it going, man. So definitely, man. Thank you guys for joining the live stream tonight. Really appreciate it. And I will be signing out. Peace.